Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's your girl, Nicci, your Kingdom Mindset Coach and creator of the Glow Code. I'm so happy that you're here for another episode of Savory and Sucka Free, where candid conversation meets flavorful faith. I am so happy to be back. I took a week off last week. We were supposed to have a guest last week. We were supposed to be talking about female accountability. I know everybody was looking forward to that one, but she had a family situation, so she had to reschedule. We haven't come up with a new date yet, but y'all know family first. She had an issue in her extended family that she needed to travel and be there for, so we're going to reschedule that. And then once she had to postpone, I just figured it's my birthday weekend. I'm going to relax, take some time for myself, so I just decided to skip last week. But even though my flesh wanted to take that skip from last week and just turn it into a permanent skip, okay, I've decided no, Nicci, no. We said we was gonna be consistent. That's what we said we was gonna do. So we're not gonna turn 1 week into 1 year, because I will do it. Okay, I'm trying to be better, and one reason why I can, because I know y'all be here and y'all be looking forward to hanging out with the kid on Sunday afternoon. So I thank you all for being here. If you haven't already, I'm really gonna need you all, before we do anything else, subscribe to the channel. Okay, you see the ticker running across the bottom of the screen. So subscribe to the channel. Follow me on Instagram at _ the glow code. And there is at the top of the chat, you can click that link if you do want to apply for my group coaching program. I'll do a little commercial break and talk about that later on in the show. I just want you all to know that this is going to be a quick one, because these 2-hour lives, y'all, we be tarrying too long on here. Okay, it'd be fun and all, but 2 hours, who got 2 hours to be talking? I know y'all do, and I know I do too, but I be talking too much, so we ain't gonna do no 2 hours. It's gonna be a quick show. We are here today. Our topic, let me see if I could put it up here on the screen for you all. Wakanda Forever movie review. Does it meet expectations? So y'all let me know in the chat if you've seen the movie. I went to see it on Thursday. In my town here, we had like a special premiere where you paid a certain amount. I don't know, it's like $25 or whatever, and you got into the movie, and you got like popcorn, and then you got like a soda or something like that. So it was a pretty good deal. I got there. Okay, first of all, I don't want to start off complaining, but they told us the doors was going to open at 6:30, right? So us being us, we was thinking, we know how the folks do. We know they're not showing up on time. So let's get there, 6:15-ish, so we can get our seats and whatnot. We don't want to be all up under the screen. So we get there. Why do we walk in at like 6:15? And the only seats are like the two front first rows down on the floor. Like, I'm sorry, y'all said y'all wasn't open up the doors till 6:30. Why are all these people in here? And today is the first day y'all all just decided to show up somewhere early. Today is the day y'all just wanted to be on some other type of time, also known as on time. Today was the day. So now I got to be all up under the screen like this. That was my first complaint. But that, hallelujah for the folks getting somewhere on time. They don't never be on time for court. But Wakanda Forever, early. Y'all take from that what y'all will. Now, so we get there. I end up sitting in the second row down on the floor, all the way to the middle. So I had to like stumble and bumble over about 20 people to get to my seat. Then I had this big old juice. I'm like, I can't drink this juice because then I'm gonna have to use the bathroom in the middle of the movie, and I'm gonna have to stumble and bumble in the dark over this row of 20 people. I'm gonna step on somebody's toes. Somebody gonna be mad. It's gonna be a problem. So I just like, I can't even drink my juice. So I was complaining from the beginning because of the situation. Just being honest. Um, Let me see. What's up? Did you wear ethnic African clothing to the movie? See, Kev, are you gonna try to run my card if I don't answer this question correctly? Like, cause when I had admitted that I did not go to either of the Obama administration inaugurations, people try to come for my card. So before I answer this question, are there penalties? Are there consequences and repercussions? Let me know. Then I'll tell you what she wore or did not wear. Okay. Paris is in the house. Paris says, I guess it is good if you like that Western culture is pushing. Okay, we're going to talk about it, Paris. I got some videos to show because people have had differing opinions. But yeah, so there I was in my second row seat, even though I was early, okay, with my popcorn and my juice that I can't drink because I did not wear a Depend to the movie, okay. Um, Movie starts. I'm okay. I thought it was gonna be horrible because I was so close, but at first it was a little jarring because I was so close. But as the movie kind of went on, I kind of got used to it, and it wasn't that bad. It wasn't not my choice, but it wasn't that bad. So it's kind of long, but it was okay. Now, my personal opinion, I didn't want my money back, right? I was cool. Like it was a good movie. I was entertained. Was it as entertaining as the first movie? In my opinion, no, but I didn't have any high hopes or expectations that it would be. I just didn't want to go into it and it'd be horrible. Okay, Kevin says, nah, you're good. I know everyone can't rock the ethnic wear. My wife and I rock the ethnic. See, listen, the first Black Panther back, I don't know, what was that, 2017, 2018? I'm not sure. The first one, I was a cool kid. I went as like, well, it wasn't ethnic wear. I went as like a Black Panther, Black Panther. Like I went like with the leather, jacket, the black jeans, the black shirt, the huge Afro puff. So I was cosplaying for the first one, a little something, something, right? But that was, it was back either 2017, 2018. It was in Brooklyn, so it was New York. So it was a different vibe. I'm in Nowheresville, Pennsylvania now, so it ain't the same. But yeah, if I was in a different type of place where that was kind of like the vibe, I probably would have. I have my African garbs in here, but I just didn't. And I was coming straight from work, so it just wasn't. I didn't. But I like scrolling through my online, scrolling through my feed and seeing all of the different outfits and head wraps and everything that everybody's wearing. That was cool. It was cool back the first one when you would go and it was like a huge thing, like everybody in the theater was Africa down, right? So yeah, it was cool. Harrison, you loved it, like loved it. Yes, 1960s. I was fighting the power in the movie theater. Okay, I certainly was. So I mean I liked it, but it was missing a little, and I think that it was missing was obviously Mr. Bozeman and or Killmonger. They could have just had they could have brought Killmonger back for me. Okay, I would have been good. Shuri was perfectly fine, but it was missing some. I don't know how to put it. And maybe the pacing was a little different. I feel like in the first one it was like bam, 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 like nonstop, like it was moving. Whereas this one, in certain parts, it seemed kind of slow. But I guess I get it because they were exploring grief and mourning and stuff like that, which would have a slower sort of pace. But that would be kind of like my own personal critique. Maybe it didn't. Oh yeah, Harrison, I be struggle streaming sometimes. I be forgetting to tell people to subscribe. I got that part right, but I forgot to drop the link. So let me do that right now because I done told the people we are not having a morning and afternoon service today. We're not about to be in here 2 hours today. So let me drop this link so we can get our conversation on and get up out of here. feel free. I just put the link in there. Come on up. This is a laid back, family fun, friendly conversation today. Black Panther. I got a couple videos I want to show y'all because some people out here are big mad about this movie. Like mad, like fight, like down with the matriarchy mad. Paris, where you at? I think you one of them people. Let's see. Here you go. I saw they was pushing an agenda against black men. Okay, parent, do you really think they were? See, I didn't even. This is the bad part about it. Okay, hold that thought. Let me play this video to that point. Okay, it was a female-led film. Okay, you had Shuri, you had Riri Williams, who we gonna talk about Riri. I like Riri. Don't we all got a Riri in our family? Don't we all? Ain't everybody got an Aunt Riri or cousin Riri? Don't we all know a Riri? I like Riri Williams. So, okay, Shuri, Riri Williams, Queen Ramonda, Okoye. What's the other girl? The girl, Chadwick Boseman's girlfriend, wife. I don't want to say baby mama, but they never really established that they got married. I'm not sure. Lupita. Who else? All of the Dora Milaje. There wasn't really a lot of male representation in the movie. I'm not gonna front. That's a fact. But to be honest, and this might say something about me and my worldview and my lived experience, I didn't even notice. I did not even notice that until it was brought to my attention watching other people's reviews. It didn't even occur to me. And I mean, that's kind of sad because I'm used to being in female led, female forward, female, empowering spaces. I went to a women's college that was and is a very female space in my life. Women have been the superheroes for me in my life. Unfortunately, I have not had that many experiences where the person who sweeps in to save the day is a male. The Dora Milaje in my life has always been female. And I'm not saying that to exclude and or deride anyone. I'm just telling you my lived experience and what I suspect has been a lot of people's experience. But that being said, once it was brought to my attention, I was kind of like, that is a good point. That is a good point. And that might be some of the energy that I was missing in the movie that I was talking about earlier. That little that was kind of missing, that was brought by Killmonger and Chadwick in the first movie. Maybe some of that sort of masculine power, energy, whatever you want to call it, might be what I'm missing. Okay, Kevin, I see you here. Let me pull you up. Hey, Kev, how are you? You can unmute yourself.
Hello. How you doing?
I'm good. So did you see the movie?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Are you mad? You want to write a letter to the editor?
No. So I'm a little bit different about Marvel movies and movies that are fictional in the sense that I don't hold them to the same standard that I do historical movies or movies that are based on history, right? So I don't hold them to the same standard. But now, so when I go into it, I suspend disbelief already, right?
Okay.
So that's kind of how I came at it. But no, I'm not upset about it. Now, there were some tactical errors. See, I'm looking at it from a male perspective, right?
Okay, tell me, what were the tactical errors?
There were some tactical errors, and there were some question. Well, it was tactical and questionable things. So, I'll skip straight to the big fight scene, right?
Now, which one is the big fight scene?
Well, the last fight scene, the main fight scene where Shuri's doing battle with Namor, right? So, but remember, the Wakandans go to sea. They bait Namor in, and the sea people in the Talakans. They bait them in by activating the mining the mine detector, right?
Right.
And then of course he responds. They bait him in, then they attack him, right? But tactically speaking,
before you go on, by the way, y'all, spoiler alerts. If you have not seen the movie, you might want to come back in about 2-3 days after you have, because we talking about the movie like the whole movie. Okay.
The only thing I don't want to spoil is a surprise at the end. I don't want to spoil that one.
Okay.
We could probably save that.
Okay.
We don't have to talk about that, right?
You
better. We could probably hold off on that because maybe some people will actually go see it based off of what we talk about, but we can hold off on that one.
Okay.
Because when I talk to people about it, I try to hold off on that spoiler at the end because even I was surprised. I'm like, oh, okay, all right, that's a new twist.
Gracious.
Yeah, but but yeah, so the big fight scene, when they go out to sea, they're fighting them on their terrain where the sea people have their strength, right? Mm-hmm. So they were already at disadvantage. They didn't have enough people, and then on top of that, they didn't bring all their weapons and equipment. Right. All they brought was a big boat, and they were literally fighting on this one vessel. They should have had helicopters. They got all these ships. You saw them they got them at Wakanda. Yeah. So if you're gonna bring the ship, bring all your aircraft too. And
I was confused. Maybe I'm just misremembering, but I feel like from the first film, or even from the Avengers film when the Wakandans came, it seemed like they had more warriors in those films than they did in this one. Was it just me?
They did. Now, they only brought a limited number based on what they expected they were going to, basically what they were expecting they were going to get. That's what I'm saying. They had no idea who was going to show up. Remember, they had already attacked Wakanda, so now he's going back out. He's like, look, I'm expecting trouble. So he's look, if I'm fighting now, I got to bring more folks. They actually brought less people. They didn't bring in what I would see as enough people to actually for the major fight scene. But again, so you got to suspend disbelief here, right?
That's true.
All right, yeah. And then then I had some policy. Then then they went with the classic policy issues. So when they had that first attack on that outpost where they thought where they were looking for the vibranium,
where like the people, the France had apparently sent the people
exactly when the French went in there and they actually attacked the place trying to steal the vibranium. Okay, so the interest now, the Wakandans got them. They got them under control. They handled the situation. But because, I'm talking about that was the first one. They handled that one fine. But the second one was when the other people, the sea people, came in and they attacked it again, right? And they thought it was the Wakandans, but it was actually blue people. They even said, one dude even said, "Were those people blue?" Mm-hmm. So he said, "No, they weren't Wakandans." But the CIA and the United States president at the time was like, look, it's the Wakandans. They're attacking us. They didn't have any proof. They didn't have any evidence. They just said their first thing was on the table, not even trying to talk to them or try to find out anything. They said, look, let's attack the Wakandans and destabilize the country.
But you know what? That sounds like America all day to me.
Exactly.
It was Iraq. They got weapons of mass destruction.
Okay, well, hold up now. So this is a little bit different. But because remember in Iraq, the United States was invited to some extent.
Okay, let's not get off track. I'm just saying America is known to
quote unquote invited
and tell a lie to get somebody's resources. Now,
exactly. And remember, they were trying to figure out. So they were basically trying to figure out a way to attack Wakanda and get into Wakanda and use that as an excuse to get in there and get the vibranium themselves. So that incident, that's what I'm saying. So that incident was like an excuse to actually attack them and then say, look, let's go in there, let's attack the Wakandans. We think it's them. We don't have any evidence, but we're just going to assume it's them, attack them. And then while we're there, we destabilize the country, take over their country, destabilize it, get the resources, and then we get the vibranium right there because we know it's there. So I'm like, come on, America. No.
Welcome, Harrison. We have Harrison here. I think is this your first time coming up on the screen?
No, I don't think so. Is it?
Is it on my show?
Is it? I'm sorry.
I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I'm gonna have to go back and look. But I feel honored to have you here, Kev. I don't know. Do you know Harrison? Kev?
Yeah. With the I've been tracking him for a while. Him and his family. Yeah.
So Harrison, you said you loved it. Do tell.
And then I'll say one last thing, and I'll let Mr. Harrison take over. But I looked for the men where I could find them, right? Because I knew they were trying to figure out how to write this movie without Chadwick. All right, it's difficult to do, and the story was a little kind of crazy, but I understand what they were trying to do militarily, and so it makes sense to me and what they tried to do. But I mean, Winston was there. Winston, M'Baku was there. He acted as an advisor in Shuri's real time of need. Right? Remember that point where she's like, "Look, let everybody else go. Let me talk to you. I need you to handle this." She's
I wanted more of him, more screen time with him.
We were looking to him more for leadership, and then that whole thing at the end where he kind of showed up, I didn't really get that part. But I looked for the men where I could find them. Then Namor was Namor was a lead. He was just a villain, right?
Antagonist.
Anti-hero.
He was a semi-villain in the sense that he had his reasons for doing what he was doing. All right.
Right.
So he's trying to protect his people, but he's doing it in a way that probably wasn't conducive to being, friendly. So you could see him as a villain or a semi-villain. So Namor was there. You did have Killmonger make his appearance, all right, in the afterlife. So now we know he's deceased.
Yo,
that's
another spilling all the beans. He's letting it out.
Well, I mean, so yeah, the only one I won't talk about is the one at the end, and the whole scene credits. But yeah, so we know he's. So in order to be in the ancestral plane, you got to be deceased.
Yeah, true.
So now we know that. I was expecting him to come back and do something.
I would have liked him to come back, but let me get Dre in here. Yeah. I'm gonna drop you down for a minute, and I'm gonna put Dre up in there you go. All right, Dre.
All right. Well, just quickly, I know some people thought that she should have saw her mother, but her mother was never a Black Panther. For you to see the people, you can only see the Black Panthers and the Protectors.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, so that's why she would not have seen her mother, because her mother wasn't a Black Panther.
I thought you saw all the ancestors in the ancestral plane.
No, just the Black Panthers.
Okay, well, news for me.
Okay. I know there's a lot of, and I'm gonna try to be brief because I'm like grading papers. There's a lot of chatter out there about this being a female-focused movie,
like this right here.
Yeah, but if I may, let's look at how the comics are established. M'Baku was a villain in the comics. He wasn't an ally. That's one, and they changed that up. So people wanted to see M'Baku have this lead, and it would have been nice. But even in the comics, he wasn't that. Two, Shuri was a Black Panther in the comics as well. Mm-hmm. And she led the country. She was a Black Panther. So I think that with the death of Chadwick Boseman, the only logical replacement for T'Challa would be Shuri. Because one, it was like that in the comic books. Two, she's the only other blood kin for Chadwick Boseman. So I think people are getting we live in a time where there's this modern male, modern female war. So we're all looking at everything through that lens.
Yep. I was just thinking that kind of saying everything to a hammer is a nail.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like if you look for it, you're gonna find it. So everybody's super sensitive to these, like, I'm looking for the agenda. Are they trying to pull one over? Are they trying to? And so you can kind of,
I will say that there is definitely an undertone of an agenda, but I think that it was. I'm not sure if that's what they were trying to push heavily. Like, there's some movies that are definitely pushing a message, but I don't know if this movie does that. I think you have Ryan Coogler, who's in a specific position. The Dora Milaje was the same in the comic books as well. Mm-hmm. All right, so it's not like they created this thing out of the blue. It's always been that way in the comics.
Yeah.
So his generals, his army were mostly women warriors, and
so it sounds at the same time. Like what you're saying is, even if there is an agenda, that portion of the story predates the agenda.
The agenda. So and again, if you're looking for it, you'll find it. Like even Courtney Michelle talked about it being
hold on. Well, let's play the video.
Okay.
All right.
I respect her.
I do.
I just disagree.
Let me see. I'm trying to. Okay.
And I'm sensitive about that kind of stuff too, but I've always liked the story of Black Panther even since I was a kid. So I wasn't coming in this looking at. I was really looking at it at how closely will they align it with the comic books. They did a pretty decent job, except for Namor. I'm going to talk about him. Like, that's my new guy.
Okay, we're going to talk about Namor too. Yeah. We're going to talk about the Hispanic and or Latin community and their myriad of feelings about all of the things as well. So I'm going to play this Courtney Michelle clip that talks about her feelings on the lack of male presence in the film, and we can continue that discussion. So let me pull this up 1 second.
So I just left seeing Wakanda Forever, and I'm pissed. I am pissed because if Pushing an Agenda was a movie, this would be in the forefront of that. This was Woman King on steroids. If you think that I'm gonna believe 100-pound black woman soaking wet is just an almighty warrior and can just body dudes like it's no tomorrow, come on. Like, instead of Wakanda, it should have been called Where Are the Men? Because they was not there, they were not present, and the ones that was there was weak. But all the women that was in the movie was just brawling, built, strong Hercules. What is this saying to us? Perpetuating the idea of the strong black woman and a subservient black effeminate man. I just think it's disgusting. I'm completely upset by the movie. And, man, if this Kyrie Irving didn't teach me anything, it's when you put your life, career in the hands of other people that don't look like you, then they can make you do whatever they want you to do. And this movie does not represent what African culture is. It doesn't represent what our culture needs to be. So, nah, I'm good on Wakanda. Where all the men.
So she has an issue with a young lady, 100 pounds, soaking wet, bodying dudes, but no issue with a guy with pointy ears, could breathe in the air and underwater with wings on his feet. Guys, it's a fictional movie. Like, what do you guys expect? We have the Hulk, right, who's bodying, demons, and that's okay. But and that's the thing. Like, if we want to go, let's look at it with a scientific but a sci-fi lens. She took the heart-shaped herb. She wasn't that strong prior to that. So I just think that now, again, I definitely see an agenda out there that's trying to promote, and this is no offense to you, it is what it is, the dominance of the black female over some black males. I get it. So I'm not pretending that's not out there. I don't think this movie is this. And to bring up Kyrie Irving's position, situation, it's just like you're grouping everything together. Guys, stop. This is for entertainment. Yeah. This is Black Panther, and Wakanda is a fictional place. You know what else was fictional? The place that Namor's from. Who, by the way, is my new favorite anti-hero. He had this naivety, but he scared me. He scared me because he has a mission to protect his people, and he's going to do that by any means necessary. And he's a lot like Thanos, where Thanos had a reason why he was doing what he was doing. He wasn't just a bad guy. What he was doing was bad, but he had decent intentions. This guy wants to protect his people at all costs, right? Protect his people. That's why at the end, when he yielded, he didn't yield until she made a promise to protect the seas and his people. If that would have never happened, he wasn't going to yield. So again, he was a brilliant. All right, so let me just say this from the very beginning. I loved how they tribute him. I also like that they didn't separate how they died. I like that the way that King T'Challa died was similar in the way that Chadwick Boseman passed away. They made it known that this was his role, and it's not going to be filled by anybody else. They made it known. The way he died is the way King T'Challa died. No one else is fulfilling that role. All right. Now
it's time to understand. You are Wakanda. You have all this advanced technology. You done fixed the whole new arm for Bucky. Like, how come? How?
That was a thing. They found the cure afterwards when they remade the heart-shaped herb. Oh. So that her whole thing was trying to recreate that heart-shaped herb. That was it. Had she met Namor, a couple of years earlier, she would have been able to save him. Right. And that was a thing, right? She was angry that we have all these technological advances. We're reaching out to the world, right? And the world only want us for one thing, our resources, and they don't want to help in any other way. Right. They don't care. And the moment that T'Challa passed away, they attempted, because the protector was no longer there, to steal vibranium. And the Dora Milaje had to set them straight. That first scene when they came in and the soldiers, so I think what we have to remember is, like, if you read the comic books, the Dora Milaje were fierce warriors. Kill first. There was no talking. They were fierce warriors, right?
Yeah.
I think that the movie was brilliantly done, in my opinion. I think that how they made this conflict between Shuri and her belief, right? She didn't want the mantle because she didn't believe in any of the afterlife. She didn't believe in all that stuff. There was a conflict there, a
Yeah.
huge conflict. Her mother was telling her, take the mantle. And she's like, no, I don't want it. I don't believe in this.
Yeah.
When they first met Namor, right? Right before that, she was talking about what she felt and the anger she had, right? How she doesn't believe. And she was even trying to explain to mom, this is just like sort of like in layman's terms, or to paraphrase it,
Like
this is a
myth.
figment of your
Yeah.
imagination. Like this is not real. You create this in your own mind to make you feel better, right? And she was the rightful heir. She was the next in line. She didn't want it. So what I saw was the person that should have taken the mantle in conflict with that. She didn't want it, right? She did not want it, but mom tried to press it, and it was just, and the mom though, the mom was no
Oh,
joke. Like Angela Bassett was no joke.
Angela
Like
Bassett,
I,
man,
I
chills.
listen. People have to look at this movie as what it is: a sequel to Black Panther, and trying to pass the mantle to Shuri, which is in line with the comic books. Even though comics, nobody is ever dead forever. He
Right.
comes back, but that's how it is. And I heard some people wanted Killmonger to come back, and again, that's not canon to the Marvel.
I know,
Timeline.
but it's the comics, and we done changed
Yeah,
some stuff. We could have brought old Killmonger. I just
yeah.
loved
Here's the thing,
his
though.
character.
Yeah, but I'm glad that he already spilled the beans. So the bro before, what's his name again? Kevin, right?
Yeah.
Kevin, yeah. I liked that he was the one that she saw. I like that because it goes into the tension, right? What if she would have saw Chadwick or her father, right?
Mm-hmm.
There would have been no tension, right? She would have been
Right.
another Chadwick Boseman or King T'Challa type of character. Like she was angry. Who else does she want to see?
Right.
You know, and what connects the two is she had the gold trimming on
With
her
the
Black Panther suit,
silver.
just like
Yeah.
Killmonger. And there was a lot of symbolism there connecting that to being anger and how she was like just watching
Yeah.
her development, her character development in this one movie alone. People thought it was rushed. I thought it was perfectly done because it showed a little bit of the naivety in the very beginning, her being hurt, right? Her not wanting the mantle, her being kidnapped, right? When she was kidnapped, she toured the city and she was like, "This is beautiful, like this is amazing,"
Right.
right? She
And I
felt
love the scenes between her and Kukulkan. It was like
yeah,
they had such chemistry. I was like,
yes,
oh, is this
yes,
about to be like
and and and,
a thing or
and what
what?
what made me like really afraid of his character was at the end when they started talking and she
Mm,
realized like there's nothing I can say to get this guy to fall back. He's going to come in and do what he. And even after he connected with her, he was that ruthless that he was coming to Wakanda and he was trying to kill her and her mom.
he
Like
was like,
he
listen,
nothing personal.
born, bury your dead, and I'll
Yeah,
be back in
yeah,
73 hours.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
he had no, it just
and
is what it is.
yeah. So I think again, people have their. This is my opinion. I thought it was a brilliant, brilliant movie because I'm not looking at it as Chadwick's not here. Oh my gosh. Oh my, like I'm upset that he's gone. Like I wish he was still here, but he's not, right? And even Courtney Michelle, she said she wasn't going to see the movie. She did, no, she posted something that said I'm not going to go see this movie. Something about T'Challa is still my Black Panther, but she wound up seeing the movie anyway.
And by the way, shout out to Courtney Michelle. I don't know
Yes,
you, girl, but I do watch your
so
content.
do I.
Love your content.
Great
And as you
stuff.
can see, I'm a member of the club. You know how we do, girl. So
Yeah, yeah,
get at your girl. You want to do a little collaboration or something, but
yeah,
it's your opinion is your opinion. I just
yeah.
want to know it's all love.
Yeah,
No,
no.
we don't do that over
I
here.
disagree with what she says. I like she's amazing. I just disagree with what she said. That's
Yeah.
it. And she wound up seeing the movie. And again, when you have a mindset, when you've been, because she's been doing so much work in trying to promote
Yeah.
uh, the black man,
So
which
that
is
kind of
what we
colors
need.
her
Yes, her perspective of
take on it.
everything.
Yeah.
And let me say this: they did, and I think the reason why Marvel's doing this is because they realized they did Black Widow dead wrong. They really did her dead wrong because the first four you know, first four, what's it called, phases
Face.
of
Yeah.
Marvel was all males, which is fine. It's comics, right? But you had a character like Black Widow, who should have had her own. She was one of the founding members of the Avengers, and she didn't have her own movie. Yeah, the Hulk had his, even though it was with a
Yeah.
different actor. Thor, Iron Man, Captain America, right? All of them, but not Black Widow. And then when they do
When
give
they
it to
do
her, she had
it.
already died off.
Yeah.
And I noticed
And
that
it was in the
now.
middle of COVID, so nobody
Yeah,
really. Yeah, they did her
yeah,
kind of
they did her
dirty.
wrong, and now it seems like they're trying to redeem that with She-Hulk, Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel, Shuri, and all that. So like
Well, I will say, not to cut you off,
yeah,
that Courtney Michelle's perspective and the perspective of people like Paris in the chat and other like black content creators that I've seen there are reviews. I just want to be clear, like that perspective is not just an African American or a black
yeah,
perspective. Like
yeah,
the hardcore people with like 670,000 subscriber comic channels, like dude bro white channels are they are
yeah,
like, we've had it. They call it the MCU, not the MCU. They
yeah.
are up in
No,
arms about
it's
all of the female led content. So this isn't just black people tripping. This is
yeah,
a lot of people, even in dominant society, are having issues with, I guess, men not being centered in comic stories, or women being always the hero, and I guess men being sometimes portrayed as buffoons or stupid, and the women being the ones who have all the answers, who fix everything, who have to
yeah,
shepherd men. So there's
yeah,
a broader conversation being had about that. It's not just in the manosphere or in
yeah,
Black YouTube.
yeah, yeah. But I'm gonna head off. But
Okay,
I
thank
I
you so
I
much. I
I,
appreciate
I
your
like the movie. I
take.
got to be honest with you. I loved it. Yeah,
Well,
uh,
listen, I liked it too, even though
yeah.
I was in the second row and couldn't drink my drink, but I
No,
did not
listen.
want my money
I had
back.
I
I
had the
didn't like it as
perfect
much as
seat.
the first one, but I
Had the
liked it.
perfect seat, 3D, Cinemark, luxury loungers. Like,
Oh,
loved it. The whole
see, I live in
experience.
a town that don't even got the luxury
Oh, that's
loungers.
whack. That's
Tell me
Pennsylvania.
about it. But we voted right though. We voted right. Okay. Well, thank you for being here,
You're
and
welcome,
I'll see you.
sis.
When's your next show?
Tuesday,
Tuesday at.
8.
And so, all you people watching now or watching replay, go ahead and follow Harrison Family Vlogs and check him out on Tuesday at 8. Thank you, bro. Appreciate
You're
it.
welcome. Later,
I'll
sis.
drop you down. All right, let me get to some of these comments. Kev C says, like I said, fictional movie, don't overthink the male-female agenda. Namor, M'Baku, Killmonger, Wakandan male warriors in the big fight scene. So he's basically saying there was some representation, although the males were not at the forefront per se, and maybe may not have been the main focus, other than obviously Namor was a main focus, other than him. There was male representation, I think is what his point is. Paris says, yes, it is fictional, but they are still sending a message, which is part of this LGBT agenda. Good acting, but it is still an agenda. Well, to that point, that one scene towards the end, I thought was unnecessary. Like, y'all, like, why do we have to put, how can I say this? It just seems so forced. Like, to try to just suggest that these two, Dora Milaje, are in some sort of romantic relationship. It just came out of nowhere. It just seemed like they just stuck it in there almost as like to check off a box, like, oh, we have that LGBT representation, check. And it was just a weird, just unnecessary, came out of nowhere. There was no discussion about it before or after. It just seemed very much like token checkbox representation of the LGBT agenda, if that's what we're calling it. So that seemed a little forced and like, come on, like, really, what are we doing? Like, why? That's just my thought on it. Female Marvel movies. Captain Marvel got a movie. Scarlet Witch and She-Hulk got Disney series. Black Widow got a movie after the fact. The Eternals were half men and half women. People were mad about that Eternals though. Eternals, they was doing a lot of agenda pushing in the Eternals though. Harrison says, "Yo, when she ripped off his, I felt like my ankle hurt when she did that. That was horrible. I was like, damn, why you gotta literally clip his wings? Can he fly? Because I saw at the end he had a little bandage wrapped around. I don't know, since he's deity or whatnot and he's got these magical powers, maybe it'll grow back. Maybe he has some regenerating powers or something. He just got to like stay in the water a little bit and it'll grow back maybe. But I'm gonna need him to have a full set of wings in his movie. Like, you can't show back up in a wheelchair. No shade to the disability community. Don't come for me. I'm just saying I'm gonna need Namor to be flying, okay, with all of his wings. So I don't know what they're gonna do. Maybe the vibranium can help, but I'm gonna need him to get his wings back because that was harsh. That was a lot. I mean, you beat him is one thing, but when she ripped off his wing, it just, that hurt me. That hurt me. Harrison says, yes, that was put there it definitely was put there for no reason, because it was just like, why? The movie's almost over. Why are we just throwing this in? And apparently, I don't know if this is true, but I think you have to do some sort of application to like the Foreign Arts Commission to get your movie played in certain countries, China being one of them. You know, they're communists, so they have very strict rules about what influences they are allowing into the minds of their children and their population. There could be several opinions about that. But that being said, apparently they're saying that Black Panther has been rejected from being shown in China at this point. And the speculation is it's because of that particular scene. I guess maybe they could cut it out because nobody would notice if they did. But the speculation online is that because of that scene that seems to highlight a same-sex relationship, that is against the rules in China to be shown in movies or on television series or in, their version of pop culture. So for now, Black Panther has not been approved to be shown in China, and people speculate it's for that reason. Paris says, because the white liberals been attaching that agenda to our struggle because Black people move culture. You know what, Paris, when you say Black people move culture, I wanted to talk about that too, because I was thinking, what is vibranium? Like, in a comic book, stuff has a literal meaning, but then it also has sort of like a deeper metaphysical meaning. Like, what is vibranium? So the indigenous native people of South America have vibranium. The Africans got vibranium. Everybody else in the world, the colonizers, if you will, is trying to get and suck the lifeblood of the vibranium from South America and from Africa. What is the vibranium? So I was thinking, does the vibranium represent just the miraculousness that is us as a people? Like, are we the vibranium? Are we the resource? And I just, when you said that we move culture, it just makes me think of that, because everything in culture that's making everybody else money, it be us. All the trends, the music, and not even just, because I know people gonna say, oh, Black people can do more than sing and dance. We actually can. When you even think about, there's so many inventions that Black people created that white people stole and took credit for and made legacies and generational wealth from things that they stole from Black people who created them. So that was just another thing I was thinking about. What do y'all think? Are we the vibranium? Are Native peoples the vibranium? Are African peoples the vibranium? Are we the resource? And if we are, what does that say about us just sharing ourselves so freely with everybody, just letting everybody leech off of our talents and our gifts, just inviting everybody to the cookout? Come to the cookout, for a shish kebab and leave with the vibranium. Is that what be happening? Y'all let me know. Am I going too deep? Am I thinking too much? I could be, but y'all let me know. I think we are the vibranium. And when I listen to the indigenous native communities, how they're talking about this film and the effect that colonization has had on them throughout their generations and their culture, it confirms my imagination that we, the people, are the vibranium. Because I typically, as an African American, am mostly focused on our struggle and what we've been through and our oppression and how it has affected us and our culture and our community. I don't really regularly think about, there's a whole other group of people who maybe they didn't go through like slavery, chattel slavery the way we did, but they went through, what do you call it? Genocide, colonization, and there was slavery there too. And I don't really think about what it does to their culture and what it has done to their culture and their families and their history. And as an African American, we always think, oh well, they still have their language, they speak Spanish, they still have their culture, they still have this. But when I'm reading on Twitter, it's being brought to my attention that they don't really still have their culture. They may have more of it than we do, but Spanish is not their native language. Spanish is not their native tongue. Things that they do in their culture are heavily influenced by Spaniards and Spain and the conquest. And so when I'm looking at TikTok and Twitter, I see the Mexican American community or the South American community speaking about how, yeah, like our language was stolen too. Our culture, has been irreparably changed too. There are things that have been erased, things that have been destroyed that we will never be able to regain as well. And this movie brought that up for them. And they were really rooting for Namor in the same way that many African Americans were rooting for Killmonger when he was on that. So I got I'm gonna go through some of these. I was talking for quite a bit just then. I be doing that sometimes. Go through some of these comments. She was ruthless. She snatched. I mean, you ever be like in an urban area and you just see a weave track like laying in the street and you just know that somebody got into a fight and just yanked it out like from the root? That's how she pulled on that man's feathers. I mean, that was unnecessary. I mean, show mercy. I mean, in the end, she did show mercy, but you ain't had to pull out all of his feathers. How he supposed to float with no feathers? Oh, he can heal fast. Okay, I'm glad to hear it because I was worried. How you gonna be a superhero with half a feather? Okay, so he did have an ace bandage wrapped on there, so I'm guessing he gonna heal and he'll be floating in no time. That makes me feel better. To say that they are not pushing an agenda, even though it is fiction, they still have a job to do. Well, it's our job to see whatever that agenda may be and proceed accordingly. Or how about we use the vibranium that is us and create something of our own to push our own agenda? How about that? How about instead of always complaining about what somebody else is doing, how about we pool our resources and our vibranium and create our own? That's just a thought, maybe. China is funny. They give us TikTok with all of this nonsense, but they want to regulate what their people watch. Funny or understanding psychological warfare. Them people are not playing. Their population is only allowed to be on TikTok for it's either 4 or 40 hours a week. It's something with a 4. I don't know if it's 40 or 4. It's limited. Okay. It shuts off, like shut down. You will not be up on here on TikTok all day, every day. It's not happening in China. And when the TikTok is on for them 4 hours or 40 hours or whatever it is in China, their algorithm will give you long algebra problems, historical facts, communist talking points. Like if you're gonna be watching this, you're gonna be watching something educational, something that's gonna help you hack somebody else's computer, something that's gonna help you be smart, not a fool. Over here, what do we get? How to steal a Kia car and crash it and kill everybody in the car challenge. That's what they sending over here. That's what we get. And that's what apparently these kids is on TikTok 8 hours a day. That's a whole job. 8 hours a day, just mesmerized and hooked on TikTok. But I think the government, I saw something on the news, they're thinking about banning TikTok from the United States, because apparently they're spying on everybody. They're keeping everything off your phone. They tracking, and they're saying it's a national security risk. So that's what I've seen on the news. They're in the process of investigating whether or not there's legal grounds to ban TikTok from the United States, because it's an espionage plot, allegedly. Okay, Harrison says that is an agenda. Okay. Paris says, yes, you are getting it. I'm assuming you mean that we are the vibranium. Yes. Listen. How about we start acting like we the vibranium, though? Like, somehow we don't let the world convince us that we like iron or rust or coal or something. We vibranium, son. Like, act like you vibranium. We still don't know our full potential. Child, I feel you. Good point. The minority groups with vibranium use it wisely, whereas other groups want the resources to wage war. Like all of our talent with music, okay? The poetry that started out in hip hop, other cultures got their hands on it and have turned our vibranium against us and have given us back our genetically modified vibranium that is killing us. Okay? We need to be more protective of our vibranium. We can't just be giving our vibranium to everybody. What did the queen say? This was a line she said in the movie. She said, Ramona, is it Ramona? Ramunda? Y'all know who I'm talking about. The queen, she said at the United Nations or NATO or wherever she was in the beginning of the movie, she said, we have held on, and this is in sum and substance, this is not a direct quote, but basically she says, we have hidden our vibranium not because of its inherent danger, but because we understood that you are dangerous. Okay, it's you. It's not the vibranium. The vibranium is cool. The vibranium don't be hurting nobody. But we know if you get your hands on it, all you want to do is to use it to hurt people. I thought that was a dope line. And I really think we need to circle the wagons and protect our vibranium, our artistic talents, our intelligence, our inventions, our design. Kanye or Ye, you done let them people take your vibranium and they done kicked you out and told you they still about to make however much else with your vibranium. We need to better protect our intellectual properties, okay? Our gifts, our talents, and quit giving them away, quit casting our pearls to swine. Not that I'm calling anybody swine, it's just a figure of speech. Don't come for me. And quit letting other people benefit from our vibranium more than we do. That don't make no sense. Okay. Paris says other groups that had a Holocaust also had a hand. Oop. Paris, you trying to get them people over here having me apologize and pay $5 because I ain't got 500? What are you trying to do to me, Paris? What are you trying to do? Let me know. I'm gonna just slide this on off the screen. People can read for themselves. I forgot I gotta screen your post because you be no holds barred, Paris. I always wondered about that. What's interesting? Okay, so Paris says, I always wondered about that. Western Christianity seems to possibly did some damage with worshiping white people and their images. Yes, well. And then you tap in, open your eyes, and you realize that all the people in the Bible was from somewhere that had vibranium. Not to bring back the Kyrie conversation, but I mean, why I can't be from here? Why is it a problem if I say I'm from here? Clearly, I'm from somewhere where they got vibranium. I ain't trying to say where you from, but why you mad if I say I'm from somewhere that got vibranium? Why is that a problem for you? Because I'm sorry, when you find out Matthew was really Madiyahu, when you find out Jeremiah was really Yeremiyahu, when you find out Peter was really Kepha, like these names be sounding real ethnic. Okay, when you get rid of that anglicized naming that they got going on, it starts to come together. But that's probably another show. And I done already said I don't want these people bothering me because I ain't even got the $5 that they gonna want with their apology. Paris, you ain't got to apologize. I know you're just passionate. You're just fervent. I get you. No need to apologize. I feel you. All right, you guys. So I wanted to play this other video for you because sometimes we be doing too much. Okay. We also have to take it. They be doing the most. We know they be doing the most, but sometimes we be doing a lot too. So I'm going to play this video that is going to examine. I guess this is maybe being overzealous in protection of the vibranium, maybe going a little too far in the protection of the vibranium. This is a TikToker activist who has gone viral. I saw some reposts of this. I think this woman took this post down, but people who reposted this video, who had screenshotted, I guess, before she took it down, have already got like million views on the repost of what she posted. So this went viral of her basically saying, well, I'll just let you watch it. Let me come on over here and play this video for you. When I first saw it, I thought it was a joke. I thought it was like a parody. Like, she's not serious, is he? But apparently she was serious. We're gonna play it. Here we go.
There's some advice that's gone viral on TikTok. This, of course, is the advice that white people who go to see Black Panther, the new Black Panther movie on opening weekend, are in fact anti-Black.
No woman, no cry.
This message is to all our would-be accomplices and white allies. This message is to all the white people who have BLM in their bio. If you really want to prove to Black people that you love us and you care about us and you are down for the cause, do not go see that movie opening weekend. You buy your ticket, you give it to a Black person or a Black family who can't afford to go. And then you go sit at that theater in front of the doors. You make sure that every Black person in that theater can enjoy that movie in peace. You make sure that you use your body to block us from anybody who would be coming in that theater to do us harm. That is your job. You can go see it on another weekend. Go see it on the second or third weekend. But the first weekend, that's for us. To do anything other than this is anti-Black.
So you got to give her credit for a good grift, for a good con. It's worked on a lot of people.
Is it just me, or maybe is that just like going a smidge too far? Like, listen, I'm here for protecting the vibranium, okay? But I don't know if we could just be out here saying, don't you bring your behind to this movie on the opening weekend. Like, I don't know if that is effective or helpful. And I'm still not convinced that she wasn't joking. Like, that video made me laugh. But there are people who were very offended, like took it personal, and was super offended. Like, well, fine, I'm not coming first week, second week, third week, and I hope your movie flops. This is racist. This is this and that. People were going ham and off about that video. I thought it was like a little kiki haha funny, but I guess apparently some people took it funny. Nah, white people, please go see it. Right? How you 13% of the population trying to tell I can't do the math, but I'm gonna say 83% of the population don't go see a movie. That don't seem smart. That don't seem smart. Just doing too much, right? Yes, doing entirely too much. Okay, I'm gonna bring you back up.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right, just because I took off, I have like a white t-shirt, I got comfortable. All right, listen, that lady, extreme. That was ignorant, because we got to understand. She would be also the one to say that we need our own, right? We need our own media outlets, right? We understand though that it won't happen unless people go and see that. And we can have our own, and only the 13% of the population will fund it, which means that we will always be in a financial deficit, because the other 87%, right, of the population won't care about it. We create things that may elevate or show the beauty of our culture or beauty of our imaginative culture, right? and then we tell people outside of our race not to go see it, is counterproductive to what we're trying to do in the first place. What she should have said was, please go and see this and support this movie and let people know that African Americans can create amazing content that everybody can enjoy. What she did there, it was really racist. That was racist. That was extremely racist, right? That's excluding people because they're not black. Like you're telling somebody, no, don't. I would have said, if you can afford it, white people, buy your ticket and buy a ticket for maybe a black family that can't afford it, or maybe a white family that can't afford it, and go together, right? Like again, America is centered around money, right? We're a capitalistic society, right? What if she does? What if people did that, right? What if people bought tickets and didn't go opening weekend? We all know that how the entertainment industry operates. Opening weekend is the most important, part of a movie's, existence. Yeah. Opening weekend tells a lot. It tells a whole lot.
Yeah, it kind of sets the trajectory.
Exactly. Yeah. So to tell people, right, white people or whoever people, not to go see it and then give the tickets to black people and buy the tickets, but give it to black people, right, does more harm for what we're trying to accomplish than good. That was really dumb. Like, that was dumb. She wasn't dumb. I'm not saying she's dumb, but what she said was dumb. It wasn't thought out all the way through. She was emotional, and like to the point where telling people to stand outside and protect, and not go in to see the movie. Like, all right, that was it. I'm out.
All right.
I'm watching.
Oh, I didn't mean to cut you off, Dre. I apologize. But I know that one hit you in your spirit. You had to come back up like, we got to address this. And to that point, I'm happy to report that although that was viral, and sometimes I have a hard time keeping faith in humanity, okay, these past couple of days have been fortifying my belief in humanity. People did not listen to that, nor did they listen to some other stuff. If you picking up what I'm putting down. Okay, so I'm going to show up here some statistics that show that people are rocking with Wakanda forever, despite all of because there is a lot of negative kind of banter about the movie on social media, on YouTube, a lot of negative reviews. People are mad about some of the stuff that we talked about earlier with the lack of strong male representation. People, saying that this is another Woman King on the heel of that movie. People who are hardcore comic book fans who just are, I guess I would say, purists, who just don't like certain things being changed, like who don't like that Namor has been made Mexican or indigenous when in the comic books, I don't think he was something else. Atlantean. I don't know if Atlanteans were Mexicans. I don't know. But there's a lot of that in movies now. People still mad about the Little Mermaid thing being people mad about, people just want to be mad about a lot of stuff. It's the outrage industrial complex, I like to call it. But despite all of that, the movie has been doing well. So let me show you some of these slides. Okay. So according to Variety, Black Panther Wakanda Forever has earned 84 million on opening day, which is really good. The article goes on to say Marvel's Black Panther Wakanda Forever is reigning over the box office. The superhero sequel earned 84 million from 4,396 locations on its opening day. That figure includes 28 million in Thursday previews. I was one of that 28 million. I went to see it on Thursday, which marked the 15th highest preview gross in history and bested the first Black Panther's figure by 3 million. So the opening day did better than the first Black Panther. It's also the second biggest opening day of the year, behind 90.4 million earned by fellow Marvel Cinematic Universe entry Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Estimates heading into the weekend suggested that Wakanda Forever could net a gross between 185 million to 200 million in its opening, though some competitors are now projecting that the film will fall short or fall just shy of that range. Doctor Strange 2 has remained the biggest opening weekend of the year since it debuted with 187 million in May. Whether the Black Panther sequel can surpass it by Monday, Marvel is once again in competition with itself for box office I don't know if that says superlatives. Yes, superlatives. So it's doing well. It's doing very well, which is good. The arrival of Black Panther sequel represents a box office surge for a theatrical landscape that has been largely bereft of high-profile releases since the summer. To put things in perspective, Wakanda Forever will be the first movie since July's Thor: Love and Thunder to open above 100 million. Even further, though Warner Brothers' release of Black Adam has drawn a substantial audience in recent weeks, Wakanda Forever looks to outgross the DC entry within its first 3 days of release. That's how big a splash this film is making. So it's doing well, despite all of the negative, despite everything. I think it's a good thing that this movie is doing well. These are Black actors. They are phenomenal actors. And I know we talked about Angela Bassett. I think we have got to talk about Okoye, Denai Guerrera, like super dope. One of my favorite scenes in the movie is when she had that one-on-one fight with like three of the Talokans and that main one, I can't think of his name, like the main dude that they kept going back and forth throughout the movie. Like when they were on that bridge fighting, that was one of the best scenes of the movie to me. So I want to give her kudos because she was super in her fight scene, but also in that scene between her and Angela Bassett, where Angela Bassett was like, hand in your badge, you are suspended. The emotion and just like the raw feeling that we got in that scene kind of again brought chills and the hair stood up, on my arm. So she did very well as well. So it was a great movie. Let me get to some of these comments. Before we go any further, have y'all subscribed to the channel? Have you hit the like button? If you haven't, act like you got some vibranium, okay? If you are a person of vibranium, you might protect your vibranium, but you're not selfish, okay? You would hit the like button, okay? You would help a sister out. Just saying. Comment. He was Atlantean, another fictional place. So I guess it could be Mexican Atlanteans who are blue. Who's to say no? I will say this though, on the Twitters, some of the indigenous people felt some type of way about being blue. They were like, finally we get some recognition in the comics in a huge, multi-million-dollar film, and we got to be blue. We can't just be regular. We got to be blue. We got to be Avatar. Is that who asked for that? That was some people's take on it. I'm not saying me. I'm just saying some people was mad. Harrison says, we mad because he's from a fake place in this movie, but the fake place in the comics. People want to be mad. I saw it Thursday at 11:30. Okay, so you was part of that. How was that? 28 million? Okay, Paris, let me preview your comment before I put it up here. What she said? Okay, this is a safe one. What she said was stupid, not racist. Black people cannot be racist, but we can be prejudiced and bigoted. You must be from the group that has power to be racist. Okay, I know that is a dominance theory, that if I don't have the power to take your house, make you lose your job, send you to a war, put you in prison or anything like that, I cannot be racist. I could be prejudiced, I could be possibly discriminatory, but I do not have the power to systematically oppress you and your entire group. Therefore, I cannot be racist. So I understand that take on what racism is and is not. So that is a valid point. Atuma. Okay, so Atuma was the fighter from Talocan. I love those scenes. And then Harrison says Atuma is an actual powerhouse in Marvel. Okay, well maybe he's gonna get him a spinoff. But though that was one of my favorite scenes, his fight scenes with Okoye. Paris says all of it is wrong. Paris, what you mean all of it? Let me know what you're talking about. Kev, you ready to come back up here? I see you turned your screen on, your camera. Okay. You're muted.
Not too bright.
It's kind of bright, but I see you. That's better.
Let me dim the lights a little bit.
Oh, that's better.
Okay, that's too much.
That's good, right
there.
There
we go. Yeah, right there. Yeah. I got the computer lights right there, man, because I want to, talk about good lighting, right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to actually figure out my own channel and stuff like that. So I'm looking at everybody else, getting my stuff worked up, the StreamYard, all the other stuff and everything else.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was actually going to mention that, but I think Paris actually pointed that out. She was just being absurd. Just, So I hate when people, especially, oh my goodness, white people stop throwing around the word racist. You got to stop doing it. We we know what it means. I actually heard a politician. I won't say her name if you don't want me to, but she said something. She said something about anti-white racism. Like, well, what is that? She said that.
Like jumbo shrimp.
Okay, there you go. Something like that. Like, and I kind of liked her too, but then she's going to be on that anti-white racism stuff. I'm like, okay, lady, stop. Like, I'm becoming an issue. I'm becoming a one issue voter. So,
what's your issue?
Economic investment.
Okay.
That's it. You're not talking economics. You don't have anything for me.
Oh, all right. Okay.
It's about the money now. We got to get the money. But
so they want to know what's type in the chat the name of your channel.
I haven't activated it just yet. I've done I've laid the groundwork. I've signed up. Got to get it StreamYard and all the other stuff in place and work out some functions of it. But when I do that, the people that I kind of frequent and pop up, I'll just kind of, hey, this is my channel. If you just kind of promote a little bit. It's gonna be black. It's gonna be primarily history, culture, and then Black issues. And I'm gonna try to set it up so that way I don't get strikes and all this other stuff and everything else. It's funny that you can talk about certain things, but then you can't talk about other things. It's just funny how they do that.
Yeah.
But that's one of the things I'm learning with you guys. But yeah. So
Paris clarifies when he said all of it is wrong. He's clarifying that although she, in his opinion, she cannot be racist because she is from the oppressed group, so she doesn't have the power to oppress the dominant group. She was being prejudiced and or discriminatory, and that is also wrong. So whether you're being racist, discriminatory, prejudice, they're all wrong. So he's making that clear. So thank you for that clarification, Paris. Appreciate it.
Well, and she was also being absurd. Look, people are not going to do that. They're not going to buy a ticket for you. And that's the other thing too. Okay, not the agenda, but the stereotype. Oh, well, Black people are financially challenged. All of y'all don't have any money. You can't spend the $20 to go see the movie. Then it's just, come on now. Like, we're gonna be good. We can afford the $20 to go see the movie. If you wanna buy out a theater for maybe some kids at a school that specifically, people have done that. I'm actually my wife and I, we're planning to go see it again, but we're gonna buy some tickets for everybody. We're gonna put all the ethnic, get on the ethnic wear and just kind of do the whole thing as a family, big family. So we're looking at doing that in a couple of weeks. But, even though we already saw the movie again, right? Even though we already saw, I'll watch a movie 2 or 3 times if it's good, especially supporting Black folks. And I know I'm supporting everybody else, but I like supporting Black, artists. However they get it in.
What are you waiting for, bro? Get at it. I need to subscribe and get my algorithm recommending you.
I got you, man. I got you. I just had some family stuff I needed to do, and then I actually took some time off from my studies to kind of focus on that a bit. You did mention the fight scene on the bridge. That actually points to her skill, by the way, skill and experience. See, again, military guy, right? I'm looking at the skill and experience. Remember, we're talking about these are people who are modified now. They become something else. They're mutated into something else. They're somewhere between human and something else. So they're meta creatures.
They had gills on their shoulder blades.
Yeah, and they can process air and do a whole bunch of other stuff that humans can't do. So we have that weakness, but they obviously have more strength and everything else.
And if you remember in that beginning scene, that girl had shot a couple of them, and didn't they get back up?
Yeah, she took on 3 of them. Like, that's pretty impressive because she's fighting meta-humans or meta-creatures. I'm not going to say they're human, but they're somewhere between human and creature because they're mutated. That's how he gets his wings. He gets his wings. He gets his power. He's born to what used to be a human mother, but he comes out half human, half something else. Demigod at this point. And the water gives him strength. Which, again, I'm looking at, I did the military analysis on this, right? That's why I say what he was proposing, the alliance with Wakanda actually would have been an outstanding alliance. Yeah. They got control of the water and the sea, right? Wakanda has all of the vibranium and supposedly the most technologically advanced, country on land. You got the people in the water who are all powerful, the people on land who's all powerful. You get together, that's an amazing alliance. The problem was that he was trying to force it, which makes him look like a anti-hero or a semi-villain here.
Yeah.
His intentions were good. Again, same thing with Killmonger. Good intentions,
poor
not the best execution. Well, I'm not gonna say it was poor execution. I'll say not the best way to execute his plan.
Killmonger, you gonna burn up all the plant, bro? Like that was too far.
Well, remember who trained him? The CIA. That's part of destabilization. You make sure you have all the power and control. You make sure you have all the power and control.
Yeah,
scorched earth. That was the flaw in his character.
Yeah,
but he had the right idea about what he needed to do, but just going about it the wrong way. The thing about it is, and towards the end of the movie, again, where she had him pretty much beat and just could have killed him right there and ended the whole thing. So once they lose their leader, then they have to stop fighting. She gave him a bit of grace because she was ready to kind of end the whole thing right there, and she had him. And then she's like, "Look, you yield. If you surrender right now, we can do something. I'm giving you one last chance."
He respected that because he even told the other the Namora, he was like, she could have killed me, and she didn't. So I don't know. It seemed like he might be coming back with some more shenanigans.
Yeah, and then Namora, and then his companion. I guess that's his companion. I don't know. The lady who was she was.
I don't know if that was his daughter or his wife.
She was upset. She was upset that he yielded. He's like, look,
she wanted to fight.
But what did he get though? He got what he wanted though, right? Did he achieve his goals? Did he get what he wanted? Did he stay hidden? Nobody knows about him. Did they get control of the scientists without having to kill them?
Wakanda never ratted them out.
Exactly. So they got what they wanted. He just needed to be ready to die for it.
Harrison says he thinks that's his daughter.
Okay. All right, but yeah, she was a little bit upset at the end. So I think that's going to be a storyline somewhere with that.
When we talk about the alliance that it would have been, that also made me think of kind of like about things that are actually going on in society presently. Like, are there fractures between the so-called Black and Brown coalition? Are there, is there potential for if we came together and worked together, we could probably get some stuff done, but
well, what's supposed to happen
have different goals or different objectives. Some people down for the plan, some people not. Some people want to fight, some people want to join together. Some people say we're different. So I also saw some sort of correlation between their situation in the movie and kind of what's going on politically on the ground here.
Absolutely, I saw that correlation too, and I don't know if they were trying to do that because I look at there is some level of a divide. Between all these different groups. So here's what's supposed to happen in the world. If you're an oppressed group in any way, you're supposed to come together, go against the group that's oppressing you. Because there's usually one group at the top doing all the dirty work, right? That's the group that's the target. So everybody is supposed to actually come together and go against that group. And the difference is that as you go down the line, one group gets more oppressed, which, Black folks are at the bottom, right? And we're dealing with this. We're not at the bottom because we want to be. We're at the bottom because it's been set up that way. It's not by accident. It's by design. Mm-hmm. All of that being said, all the other groups that are being oppressed to some extent, if you want true freedom, you got to deal with the one group that's doing all of that, which if you get everybody together on the same sheet of music, then now you can deal with that one group effectively and just say, hey, look, y'all can cut this out. Otherwise, we're all going to come against you.
Which is why that one group spends so much time planting seeds of dissension between all of the other groups.
Absolutely. I give them credit. They do it outstanding. Everything from information operations to their execution to you even have people at this point denying it's even happening.
Yeah.
Black people too. If you're Black and you start saying, look, I don't believe in systemic racism. Look, I understand it's down the list on things that we need to tackle because we have to, and you've done this a little bit on your channel too, because you talk some really good stuff. You kind of point to behavior more than the other issues. The other issues are there. The systemic stuff is there. I like to know about it because I want to know how to avoid it, right? If I know the criminal justice system is unfair, then why would I do things that's going to subject me to an unfair system?
But that systemic stuff, it's definitely there. It's just so much more nuanced and subtle than it used to be, such that it's almost more dangerous because, like they say, the greatest trick the devil ever pulled was making people believe he didn't exist. So the systemic racism is there. It's just so subtle that you have people that can be like, oh, I made it. I graduated. I went to college. Yeah. There's no systemic racism.
Yeah. So you have that. But outside of that, though, but I point more to the behavior and life decisions that you make versus the systemic issues that are in place to actually lead you in those directions.
Yeah.
So I always look at it as a two-pronged approach, but I focus more on your individual behavior and life decisions versus, any negative force that somebody's exerting against you. Understand that it's going to be there, figure out what it is and how you need to counteract that. If you do that and then you make choices that are, not contrary, but actually prevent you from getting caught up in that system, then you're going to come out of it much better, and you're going to, come out of it okay. All of that being said, and I want to get back to I don't want to, get on that too much. What was it?
I'm about to get it because I said I was only going to be here 30 minutes, and y'all done had me here an hour and a half. So I'm about to get out of here. So if you got any final words, now's the time.
Well, yeah, and I said it in the chat, but again, it's interesting because when minority groups or oppressed groups or minority groups have something that everybody else wants, it's generally we use it wisely. If you go back and look at African culture, they use their land and resources wisely. They didn't waste it. They used what they needed. If you needed something, they were willing to kind of trade with you and barter and all this other stuff, but they weren't going to just hand it off to you. And then, but if you look at the history, then, one group comes in and go, oh, you got all this cool stuff. You know what? I'm just going to take it. I'm going to do what I need to do in order to take it. So that's the same thing with, I don't know how the Hispanics kind of felt about, and indigenous folks felt about turning blue and having resources and all the other stuff, but they were being, judicious with their resources as well. They could have easily turned it into something and, created weapons and a whole bunch of other stuff. They only use it to defend themselves as necessary.
Yeah.
And try to keep themselves.
When you think about that historically, when I was talking about what is the vibranium, when you think about even currently now, like all of the resources that are being taken from Africa, and then historically, all of the gold and resources that were taken from South America that went to Spain, and to Europe. It's like an age-old, it's a comic book, but I mean, is it?
Well, you see the allegories and the analogies within those series, within the series. And, like I said, and then what Mr. Harrison, he was talking about Harrison Family Values, he was talking about, they tried to stay relatively close to the source material without going too far off, other than making Namor Atlantean. Now he's indigenous or, a Mesoamerican. That's what she was talking about.
Okay.
So all that good stuff. But I mean, pretty good review. I don't want to hold you. I know you gotta go move on to the next thing and do some other stuff. But you brought up some pretty good points. I talked about this with a bunch of men, and of course, like I said, we analyze it from a male perspective, military tactical perspective, and a whole bunch of other things. And like I said, the forming an alliance, tactically it's sound. It's just you can't force. That's the other thing too. You can't force an alliance.
Yeah.
You're coming with something, they're coming with something, but you can't threaten somebody into, aligning with you. Otherwise, it's like, well, it's not really an alliance. You're pushing me into you're forcing me to make decisions that it's not a free choice. Okay. Yeah, that would have been better. But then that doesn't create the tension in the movie, though.
All right. Well, it sounds like overall you're giving it a 2 thumbs up. So I appreciate you being here today. Thanks for coming up on the panel and giving us your 2, 3, 4, 5 cents. I appreciate it. And I will see you maybe next week. I'm going to drop you down and then close out here in a second. But thanks for coming up.
Take care. Appreciate you.
All right, you guys. I got like 2 more slides. Oh, shoot. Did I? Okay. 2 more slides to go through that I made. So I'm gonna go through these and we're gonna get out of here. What is this that I was trying to show you? Okay, so I was talking earlier about I remember how I felt the first time Black Panther came out. I remember how it was like a euphoria in the movie theater throughout Brooklyn, just seeing everybody on the train had on their outfits and just everybody talking about it. And basically it turned into like a family reunion, barbecue, party, stroll competition at the movie theater, because it was like so joyous to just see such a positive, powerful representation of Blackness on the screen. And so I think Indigenous people, Latin people, Hispanic people, South American people, I don't know what identity label we gonna call it, but all of them, many of them are feeling a similar kind of exuberant kind of feeling about this movie and having Namor as one of the central characters, as a hero, anti-hero, antagonist, but like a focal point of the movie, not just like a support person, like an actual focal star of the movie. And this actor did an amazing job. So this is a tweet from someone saying, I cannot truly describe the power and pride of seeing at Tenoch Huerta on screen. Hashtag Wakanda para siempre. Wait, Wakanda para siempre. I took Spanish, y'all. I don't know what that means. I don't know if my accent is right. Don't come for me. I'm trying. Hashtag Namor. And you see they got the fists up. They got all of the melanated looking fists up there. They got a little cocoa brown. They got a little caramel. They got a little chocolate deluxe up there. So I'm glad that that community can have that experience and have that joy and experience that, pride and being represented in such a powerful way as well. So that was one thing that stood out to me. And akin to that this is some street art, a mural that has been painted. This went up it's a city in Mexico. Someone has painted this. So this just kind of shows that pride and that, exhilaration and that joy of being seen and being represented in a powerful way is having sort of an effect culturally in that community as well, such that, how we do, we're going to do a mural of a Biggie, of a Tupac, of a Black Panther, of a whoever. So they got their mural of what's it, Culiacan in Mexico. So, and I also think it's dope artwork as well. And then this was one other thing that I thought was interesting in the movie. The people down in Talocan, they keep doing this hand sign. I thought, because the throne was a shark, he was sitting like inside of what looked like a shark's mouth. So I thought that this symbol was like the shark's mouth chomping down, but apparently this is an actual hand motion or pose that you find in Mesoamerican art. And so I thought that was cool to kind of learn that they kind of incorporated some actual historical artistic factors into this character, being that his origin story is from Mesoamerica. So I thought that was cool too. And it also kind of inspired me, like, I want to learn more about, this culture. I remember being in like 6th grade and having like a chapter on the Mayans and like a chapter on the Aztecs, and learning about a couple of conquistadors. But other than that, we didn't really learn much about anything other than England and America and all manner of whiteness. We didn't learn too much about ourselves other than maybe a little Martin Luther King and a Rosa Parks and a Harriet Tubman. But, I could learn about myself and my community. I haven't really gone in depth and learned much about indigenous culture, history, South America. And so just watching this movie and kind of seeing the cultural stuff that they put into it kind of makes me want to, do my own due diligence and educate myself more on that culture and history. All right. And finally, this is, we're not the only community that be going at it. It don't just be us. I know it always seemed like we always like, but apparently it's just we be doing it all out in the open for everybody to see, and we gonna make 45 viral videos cussing each other out and calling each other everything but the child of God. Other people be going at it too. Other communities be having beef, y'all. I didn't realize. I'm gonna make myself big for this because I didn't know this. I didn't realize that Asian communities have beef with one another until I worked at this law firm. I had no idea that the Chinese people had beef with the Korean people. The Korean people thought that they were the top of the ladder, but then the Japanese people was like, we're the top of the Asian totem pole. I had no idea that these type of politics were going on in the Asian community until I worked at this law firm and all the Asian people there. I was like the only Black little girl working there. It's my first job at a college. I was a legal assistant at a law firm on Wall Street, and the other young legal assistants, a lot of them were Asian and white. I had no idea. I had no idea that there are separations and stop signs, do not enter, and don't sit with us going on over there. I had no idea. Other communities have beef too. It ain't just us. It's just we just a little too out in the open and putting every dirty piece of laundry on the wall for everybody to see over here. But other people got beef too. I say that to say, let me put this back up here. After watching this movie, some people in the indigenous and or Hispanic and or Latin community, I don't know what we calling it, are having a conversation about whether this movie was disrespectful to Spanish speakers, because I guess there was a line in the film where Namor said something that they determined or believed to be disparaging about the Spanish language. So this tweet says, I'm seeing some people say that Namor was disrespectful to their Hispanic heritage and calling Spanish a, quote, hateful language. If it offended you and made you feel uncomfortable, you can imagine how Mayan and other indigenous people feel after colonization. Or does it say can you imagine how Mayan and other indigenous people feel after colonization? So then there's a whole string of comments and back and forth about this. So this is a conversation that's being negotiated, an idea that's being litigated in that community as to how this film represented the Hispanic community, about what respect should be given to Spanish as a language or to Spain as a country. Is that something that they should be paying homage to, or should they be seeing that as, no, I only speak this language because you came, gave us all kinds of diseases, killed us, raped us, and forbid us to speak our language. So no, I don't have all that much respect for it. Two different camps. Some people on Twitter is like down, like Spanish is a whack language. Other people are like, this is my heritage. So all different cultures are negotiating things and working through stuff. And this is a result of our history and things that we were born into that are no fault of our own, but just things that we have to try to figure out and move on from and make the most of. But I'm gonna say this. Because we are the vibranium, okay, because we are the resource, we should be able to do that. And when I say we are the resource, yes, I am talking about our intellect, our artistic gifts and talents. I'm talking about our melanin. I'm talking about all of that. But first and foremost, and most importantly, I am talking about the light that lives within us. Okay. I'm talking about the fact that the Most High God made us in his image. I'm talking about the fact that he has given us his Holy Spirit and told us that with it, we got the power. Okay. So we are the vibranium, which means there is no issue, there's no oppression, there's no poverty, there's no colonizer that can conquer us. Why? Because greater is he that is in us than he that is in the world. Greater is he that is in us than the colonizer. Okay, so let's protect our vibranium. Let's make sure that we are, what I want to say, energizing our vibranium by living healthy, thinking healthy, making sure there are healthy, positive things coming into our gates, whether that be our ears, our mouths, our eyes. Okay, we got to clean up our diet all around the board, not just at the table. Okay, we got to watch what we remote controlling, watch what we thumb thugging, okay, on our devices, so that our vibranium can really shine bright. We got to protect and respect our vibranium and quit tossing it out for everybody any old type of way. And come together, pool our vibranium. I mean, I'm vibranium, but where two or three are gathered, if two or three of us got together with some vibranium, we might be able to do some great things. So I'm glad for the three of you that's watching right now. Hopefully y'all got y'all vibranium going. So I'm so happy that y'all came here today. I said I was going to be on here for 30 minutes. Y'all got me on here for 90 minutes, but y'all be doing me dirty like that every week. Every week y'all be on here having me going on and on and on. That's how y'all do. I'm not mad. I'm not mad at you. I appreciate you for being here. If you haven't already, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Let me know if there are any topics you want me to cover, because I'll be struggling trying to figure out what we should be talking about. I'm gonna go through these last couple of comments and then I'm getting out of here, because y'all done held me for the afternoon service and I said I was only doing one service today. Okay, Harrison says, he said that the world will attack Wakanda and that Wakanda will come to him for help. That is why he yielded. Okay, so it was strategic. He's playing the long game. I respect it. It was definitely strategic. Harrison says, when that happens, the alliance will be all on his terms. So they're going to have to come to him and essentially beg him for his assistance when the colonizers come for them. Okay, I see what you're saying. Then he gonna have the leverage. What's up, TBE Trucking? Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate you. Okay, Paris. Paris says, as Black people, some people will stand together with us, but overall, we do not have, on a whole, many allies. We can win if we stood on code and people just start to act right. Listen, I do believe that we need to stay on code, but the code that we need to stay on is the glow code. Okay. We need to stay on the code that's written in that covenant that we got with the Most High God. That's the code first and foremost that we need to stand on that don't nobody want to do. First of all, we want to be unruly and not be on no kind of code. And if we do get on code, the last one we think to try to be on is the one that should be the first one. I'm here to tell you, it is my sincere belief, if we got on that code, if we started living within the restrictions, the privileges, and the power in the covenant that was given to us by the Most High God, half of the stuff that we have as problems wouldn't even be problems. They would disappear by default. And those that didn't disappear by default, we would have standing to go to the Most High God and say, fight for me. But no, God told us to be decent and in order, but we done listen to the colonizer and we think we supposed to be wild and free. But okay, y'all done got me off topic and y'all done got me preaching, and I ain't came here for that today. I certainly did not. Wakanda forever. Okay. I'm with you. Spanish. What's in Spanish? Can you say Wakanda? Is that, I don't know how to say Wakanda. Oh, that thing that I read on Twitter that said Wakanda forever in Spanish. Okay. Yes, siempre. Okay. I'm slow, but I got it. Paris says, amen. Amen. Okay. Paris feeling me on the glow code. I appreciate you, bro. I really believe when we get that, when we understand, if we would just obey, if we would just be disciplined and obey, I swear half of these problems wouldn't be problems. And even if there were remaining problems, they wouldn't be the type of debilitating issues that we have in our community now. It is our disobedience. It is our disregard for the rules. It is our disregard for the instructions. I won't even say rules. I say like the instructions, the instruction manual. How are you doing this thing called life without the instruction manual? Yeah, that's why it's broke. That's why you keep broken it. That's why you keep breaking yourself. That's why you keep ending up broken, because you're not following the user manual. You trying to figure it out when I already gave you the playbook. What are you doing? You're messing it up. But that ain't got nothing to do with Wakanda. I'm just saying. All right, y'all. That was it. Like, comment, subscribe. If you are interested in my group coaching program, the Kingdom Inheritance Incubator, I really need you to go on down in the description box and hit that link. We are starting in January. Okay, it's going to be super dope. It's a long-term group coaching program. We are going to be working together to figure out how can we position ourselves to inherit, enlarge, and enjoy the kingdom, both here and hereafter. How can we advance the kingdom? How can we enlarge the kingdom? How can we live our lives in such a way that we walk into a room and the vibranium be vibranium? Okay, we walk into a room and we set the tone. We walk into a room, and if it's dark, our light does away with that darkness. If we encounter challenges, we figure out and we know that relying on the power and the privileges given to us by the Most High God, these challenges can be turned into triumphs. How do we figure that out? What are my privileges and powers as a daughter of the King? What is my inheritance? What are my rights and responsibilities as a daughter of the King? What powers and privileges are we leaving on the table by not embracing that identity? We're going to talk about it. It's going to be a life-changing experience. Okay, I would really encourage you to go on down in that description box, hit the link to apply for the program. You will set up your one-on-one with me just to make sure, you know, we all on the same page before we start this journey together, because it is long-term. It is group coaching. So I need to make sure, you know, ain't nobody cuckoo, because it's going to be a group and I don't need nobody throwing off the equilibrium in the group. So I just need to meet you and say what's up, see what's good. Okay. And if we determine that it's a good fit, We're going to be working together. We're going to be getting it together. We're going to be glowing together. And most importantly, we're going to be positioning ourselves to take our rightful place in the earth. And our rightful place in the earth is not as beggars, it's not as borrowers, it's not as baby mamas. No, that is not our rightful place. It's time for us to quit playing out here. It's time for us to cut it. It's time for us to really embrace and understand who we truly are and act like it and live like it and look like it and be like it. Okay, so that's what the Kingdom Inheritance Incubator is about. If any of this sounds interesting or necessary for you, again, the link to apply is actually way at the top of the chat, but it's also in the description box below if you are watching this on a replay. All right, I know I done said this like 11 times, but I mean it this time. I'm out of here. Thank y'all for joining me for another episode of Savory and Sucka Free. I will be back here next week at 5 o'clock for another episode of Savory and Sucka Free, where candid conversation meets flavorful faith. If you haven't already, go see Wakanda Forever. If you can't go, maybe, support a youth or something in your neighborhood, buy them a ticket, pay it forward, be generous. That's part of glowing. And I will see you all next week. As we always say before we get out of here, know the code, live the code, light the world, and I will see you next week. Peace.